Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Mental Health and Healing. Welcome to everyone who has been here before. Welcome to everybody who is new. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Dr. Nicole Jackson, and I am here today with the beautiful Karen Penfold, and we are going to talk about healing from trauma through the physical being. Because as you know, many times people look at trauma healing as it just being in the mental capacity, when in fact it is, okay? It is encompassing of your mental, your physical, your emotional being. So that is the purpose of today. As you know, each time we come to you, I have a goal of making sure that you leave with tools to put into your healing box. Mm-hmm. And today, I truly believe that that's what's going to happen. You're going to have some new insight on how to focus on healing and starting your journey towards resilience past the experience of trauma. So at this present time, I am going to hand it over to my beautiful friend, Karen. I'm so glad you are here today.
Oh, I am honored to be here. Thank you, Dr. Nicole. Well, just a quick introduction. My name is Karen Penfold, and I am a registered trauma-sensitive YogaFaith yoga instructor. And my journey with yoga and healing began 10 years ago when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was diagnosed with an aggressive form of breast cancer. I was 46, and I went through numerous surgeries, including a double mastectomy, chemotherapy, and reconstruction. And I was recovering from a year of doing that when I was re-diagnosed. My cancer had come back into my lymph nodes. And I also managed to get in a car accident and break my pelvis, the very, within days of knowing I was re-diagnosed. Needless to say, there was a lot of medical trauma there. And a lot of emotional trauma, and I realized that in trying to heal physically, that there was a lot of mental, emotional healing to take place. And I was introduced to yoga as I was recovering. And while it started very much as a physical healing, helping me with my balance and my strength, I began to recognize that it was healing me in my mind and my soul and in my spirit. And since then, it has become my absolute passion to help women and men, but I mostly work with women, to heal from trauma, to have a life, again, that is full of abundance and freedom, and not just continue to relive and live in that trauma drama. So that's my hello.
Listen, your story is absolutely amazing, and I'm so glad that you're willing to share it with us and take us on a journey of how you healed and the experience that you have, which you can pass on to our community so that they can find different ways to begin to heal themselves as well. One thing I would like to tell to our community today is that this is a conversation. If at any time during this talk that we're having, you have questions, please, by all means, ask the question, and we are going to do our very best to answer all of them that we can, or just make a back around in the comments later or so to answer those questions for you. If you have any comments or whatever, just know that this is a community, this is a conversation, and I welcome you to fully participate with us today. So, my friend,
where shall we start?
Where shall we start today? Let's start here. Let's look at this right here.
Yes. The body is the container of all of our sensations, feelings, and emotions. That I love that description, and it is from Dr. Peter Levine, and he is the founder of Somatic Experiencing, which is the body-based healing method for trauma. And so when someone is traumatized, when they've been through a traumatic experience, crisis after crisis, they often feel unsafe in their body. The definition of trauma is that something has happened that has overwhelmed you, your emotions, your mental capacities, your body. It's overwhelming, and so now, it took power from you. It took control from you. It took understanding what might come next, and now you're left with feeling unsafe. And
right.
So the thing is, you can't just talk and talk and talk to heal trauma, because no amount of talking is going to help your body feel safe. Your body actually needs to feel safe again.
Right. And trauma, it does. It makes your body feel unsafe. And many times what we want to do, we want to get rid of that sensation, right? We want to say, I don't want to feel this anymore, so I am just not going to think about it, right? I'm going to bury it deep. I'm going to block it out. And then we think that we're okay. And then we start feeling some manifestation in our physical being, right?
Right.
And even in the emotional being.
Right. So often what'll happen is we need to help our patients, our students, have an awareness of their body in the present moment. And so because experiences have been so overwhelming, and like abuse victims will often, as you say, detach from their body. They don't want to feel. And physically what's happening, and also emotionally, they push it away and push it away. And people become so adept at doing this that they really get to this place of numbing, of not physically even being aware of their body. And so we help people through lots of different techniques that are very somatic, very body oriented, to sense their body in the present moment, which seems so simple. There are lots of techniques to do that, and they're not, complicated. But to just tell someone, you need to be aware of your body, that's not how it works. There are methods, and it's a continuum, and it's a repetition to help people experience the sensations and to recognize that they're contained in the container. That's what I love about what Dr. Levine says, is that when you recognize you have this container, your body holds all your physical sensations and your emotions and feelings. Then if it's contained within your body, then maybe it'll start not feeling so overwhelming. It's something that you can gain control of again, and have some resourcing, learning how to feel safe again, get your nervous system to come down and feel safe again in your body.
Right. So basically, and probably not basically, but using somatic work in trauma recovery is a way to help you become aware, right? Safely become aware of yourself. One thing that you said before that I really love, and it just continues to resonate, is that you have the right to feel what you feel.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. That is a very foundational message in trauma recovery, is that you get to, I call it the you get to.
Okay.
You get to notice what you notice and feel what you feel. And again, that might sound really simple, but for someone who has been pushing away, not wanting to feel because it hurts, just hearing that message and hearing it over and over, and hearing it when your nervous system has been brought down, where you're feeling safe, you feel calm, you can process these things. Your mind can't process when your nervous system is so jacked up that your heart is, racing, and you can't catch your breath and your mind is racing.
So so what I hear you saying is, if you're not in a relaxed body, it becomes so much more difficult to do this process. I put up on the screen, you can't heal what you can't feel, right? And so if you're suppressing it and you don't want to feel it, then you can't necessarily heal it, which is why I always tell everyone, I need for you to find ground zero. I need you to locate the thing that was your trauma. I'm not asking you to relive it. I'm not even necessarily asking you to talk about it unless you want to. But what I am saying is, you have to acknowledge it. You have to put a face to it. You have to put a name to it. You have to make it tangible so that you can take your power back and you can start your healing process, right?
Yes. Yes. You can't heal what you can't feel, is foundational too, because it's just all
Karen, I have a request. I think you may be a little low, so people can't hear you.
Okay.
A lot.
Okay. How's this? Is this better?
Is that better?
How's my voice volume now?
I'm waiting to see the comment to see if they can let me know. Also, we have something just really quickly, and I hope I'm saying this right, Hugh. It's not uncommon for, especially people who oh my goodness, especially people who are empathic, to here it is right here. Okay, she's saying add more, but it's better. I'm going to put this comment up here really quickly. Okay, I'm going to show this comment right here. As a mom, child, and in a very toxic relationship, back to violence, and I'm an empath, but as a child, I shut down. Now I'm rebuilding myself. It's definitely a journey. It really is a journey. And the journey comes from being able to handle that situation, not only as not from the perspective of how you did it when you were a child, like shutting down, right? Because if you were to use that in an adult situation, it's not going to be very successful, because communication is necessary in order to begin to process what's going on. As a child, that shutdown actually was a very amazing protective factor, because it kept you safe, right? But as an adult, it's amazing to know that you realize that, and that you are taking whatever steps necessary to make sure that your journey is happening. And the good thing is, it doesn't matter when you start your journey or how long your journey is, just as long as you're on it, and at the end of it, you're better than when you started out, right?
Yes.
And your journey is your own journey. And today, I hope the tools that we're talking about is really going to help you put this in your healing box and use it on your journey. I'm so excited to hear that you're doing this, and that although may feel difficult to rebuild, because that's what it takes sometimes, that you're doing it. That is amazing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
An interesting fact about
I think you're a little bit low again, Karen. I'm sorry.
I'm using my big girl voice. The interesting thing about trauma recovery and using somatic methods is that that you don't need to talk about what that trauma is.
Right.
And the same methods are going to be helpful in healing, regardless of what caused the trauma, because trauma is it shows up in the nervous system. And so when we help our clients, like, resource, so find a way to self-regulate, to self-soothe, that is a tool for them when they're triggered. And sometimes we don't necessarily need to understand why we're triggered. A lot of us will go into this analyzing thing, and that's where you go back to, you get to notice what you notice and feel what you feel, without judgment, without with this acceptance of that is how this is what happened, and this is how I feel. And then another crucial message for the body and the mind to recognize is that there's a beginning and middle and an end to the pain or the discomfort of what you're feeling. Unfortunately, I cannot say that there is an end to some of the horrifying pain, but there is a beginning, a middle, and an end to what is happening in the moment. And when people realize that in the moment, that they can affect how they're coping and how they're physically feeling, then their mind understands, I'm not always going to feel this way. It's never going to end. You start to train your mind, because your body has experienced there is a beginning, a middle, and an end, and that hard things come to an end. The body needs to experience that for the mind to be able to conceptualize that.
Right. So, let's talk about how yoga is a tool for trauma recovery, and how somatic work is the missing link to trauma recovery.
Yes. I think we covered that a little bit, that it's the missing link, that it's not talk therapy. It should come alongside that, but talk therapy alone is not going to help someone be able to feel again. So yoga is a body-oriented method. Obviously, in yoga, you're taking forms and you're moving and breathing. The form that we take is not important, whether it's warrior 1 or warrior 2. What's important is that people are learning to experience getting grounded, for instance. We'll just take this as an example, to actually feel that they have stability under their feet. So we've been traumatized that right now most people might feel like the world is spinning out of control. But when you can help somebody center and ground and feel, yes, I can feel my feet on the ground. There is stability underneath me. You begin to have a foundation to build from that. So when the body can feel stable and like and you can recognize in holding, whether it's hands heart center or hands, into high praise, as I call it, or low praise, and you feel your body being stable, it's rewiring your nervous system and rewiring how you are able to be aware of your present moment sensations and tolerate them.
And tolerate is an amazing word to use at this time because, again, we don't want to feel that. We don't want to feel the sadness. We don't want to feel the anger. We don't want to feel any of that comes along with the intrusion of trauma, right?
Right.
We don't. So again, we suppress it, and then it has nowhere to go but to begin to generate as sensations in the body.
Right.
And so that's where this tool comes from, right? You begin to, let me tell you, I love when you say like feeling grounded and your feet, and because immediately I just begin to like pay attention to what my legs are touching and how my feet are touching the ground, or, and it's an amazing, amazing sensation to actually become fully aware of your body. When you don't want to, but then you realize, oh, if I could like feel this, then I could actually relax it. Right. I could find comfort. And so listen, every time we have coffee and we're sitting here and talking and that comes up, it just, I don't know. It is just an amazing feeling.
That's the embodiment of yoga and somatic work, is to help people embody their everyday, their present moment experience. And so we can do that with all kinds, using your different senses. We can help people center and ground, and then build their healing box, their own resources by teaching some breathing techniques. I just start with just noticing your breath.
Yes.
Not in a way that you not in a way that you need to control it, just to notice it. And there's so many ways. It's a working with trauma patients, trauma survivors is a constantly moving target.
Listen.
And you just have we tried different things. And that's the thing about trauma sensitive yoga and how different it is from a normal class, is that our language is very invitational, because we want our students to gain back, to sense, feel again their power, their choice, their ability to choose, to recognize how they feel in the moment, and based on that, they're going to choose. So that our language is very invitational. You might like to begin the twist, in your core, and see how it feels to turn your neck along with your shoulders. So it's just very invitational. It's giving lots of options, and people recognize I'm in control of my body. I have power, and to choose And so yoga, and so a regular yoga class is going to be very different than a trauma either informed. I believe all yoga classes should be trauma informed, because we're all walking around broken. I don't think anybody comes unscathed from having an experience where they could be triggered into feeling very anxious by being commanded how to hold your body, how to stand, what to do with your legs, you know. So so there's a trauma, sensitive class, and then what I do, I call it's trauma specific. It's working very, very specifically with trauma survivors, and it's all about recovery. And the yoga looks very different from what you might think of as a yoga class.
So one time you said you have questions like, what if? Mm-hmm. Right?
I ask a lot of what ifs.
A lot of what ifs, but one of my favorite is this one.
What if compassion for others begins with compassion for self? Yes, that is a question that I've been posing to a group that I lead through a yoga break 4 times a week. And for the last 3 or 4 weeks, it's part of the message of you get to notice what you notice and feel what you feel, and recognizing that we all get to have our own experience in this world. So being able to, it's just this whole exploring through our yoga practice, through our breathing, through our mindful movement, through meditation. I continually bring up things for people to ponder and experience as we do things like connect to breath, connect to self, connect to others. When that is happening, then when we pose that question, what if? When I can allow myself to feel what I feel without judgment, would I then be able to allow someone else to feel what they feel without judgment? So I think it's a continual exploration of that theory.
Right. Because if we can begin to, if we can just begin to give ourselves grace, yes, right? Have self-grace, right? Understand that this is a process. Understand that we need to love us to get through this process, and be willing and open to say, you know what? I don't want to swallow this anymore. Right? I don't want to. I want to feel. I want to not be anxious. I want to not be sad or be angry. I want to be relaxed in my body so that I can be more aware. And so what I'm understanding is that this right here is a way to get there. This is a vehicle to just becoming more self-aware, yes, and being able to provide yourself grace in moments.
Right. Well, a huge component of yoga and of self-compassion is mindfulness. Having the mindfulness is about allowing yourself to understand your intention and put attention to your experience and not have judgment about that. And so mindfulness helps us be aware of how we're feeling, and it helps us make sense of it without overanalyzing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Because there are times when you're just like, am I overthinking this? Is this really what it is? Do I really need to touch this? Do I really need to deal with this? Can't I just let it go? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then a week later, you talk about, oh, my stomach hurts, or, oh, I'm having these migraines, or you're waiting for the other shoe to drop all the time. Right? But if we can practice mindfulness, we become aware. We connect to ourselves, and then we have the ability to better connect with others around us, which is extremely important, by the way.
Yes.
Because as you are on your journey to healing, you actually need a support system. You need something that's tangible. You need someone that you can say, hey, like, I'm feeling this way today. But we can't get there until we connect to ourselves. And so taking the time out to, I don't know, meditate and have some yoga, and to like be aware of, I'm sitting on this couch right now and this is what it feels like.
Well,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. All of those things that you mentioned, yoga and be self-aware and meditate, all of that it's so esoteric if someone isn't leading you through it. It was just all words and blah, blah, blah to me until I started to study it and practice it. And so what I would say to listeners is that to give it a chance, to find someone who, and to know that you're going to be led through something. You don't have to figure out how to meditate on your own. You don't have to figure out how to center on your own, how to ground, how to self-soothe. That's what we're for.
Yes. And that's what we're for. And that's, to teach you how, if you can't get to us, just for at least you're learning how to begin to be able to do those things on your own, right? But a support system is absolutely, I look at this as another form of therapy.
Mind, body, spirit therapy.
Yes. Right. And by the time you're done, you're just like, wow. Yep, I did that, and I feel great. Let me see. Okay, we're going to look at this question or this statement here, right here. What kids are seeing today seems to be piling on the trauma because of bad news they see in their hands every day. They don't see what is happening. What can we do for them? Okay, and you are right. You are absolutely right. Yes. Everything that's going on right now is piling on the trauma, especially for those who have experienced some kind of trauma before. This is probably not making it any better.
No,
it's not. So when you start looking at children and looking at how to help them, if they are verbal and they can communicate, have conversations with them. And if they're watching this and they can tell you about this, then they're ready to hold conversations. Give them space, give them an opportunity. Say, okay, this is what's going on. Tell me what you know about what's going on right now. Tell me how you are feeling about that right now, right? Because sometimes all they need is that outlet, even if just for a moment, so they can say, this is how I feel, and they're not suppressing it. Right. And they're not pushing it down. Right. They're processing it out, and it is just a small moment of trauma, and it's not going to turn into something that is chronic or acute or continuous or something that they're going to carry with them, lifelong.
Right.
Go ahead.
And I would say, I saw who asked that question. So I'm going to say, and Katie, and I would say to help children or young teens with this is what you were saying, Nicole, is to listen. So we have someone who is compassionately listening and then letting them express that that they are distracted, or they don't want to play outside, or they're afraid, is to acknowledge, I'm hearing you, and to acknowledge what you're feeling is normal. You're having, what is happening is not normal. How you're feeling is. And so the kids don't feel like, isolated, even more isolated.
Right.
Because other people, just that message that other people, and that's part of self-compassion, is this message of, we have this common humanity.
Right.
We all suffer.
Yes.
And in a sense, we are all suffering in the same world. We're experiencing it different, but we are all suffering, and we get to have our experience. So you let the child have their experience and how they feel, and then I would go straight to some sort of somatic technique, something as feeling your feet on the floor, helping someone feel grounded if they're highly agitated, and then a breathing technique and a sensing of the body as a container, sensing that body as a container, and just doing something that I can teach at the end.
Okay. Also, Katie, there is a book, and I hope you have a pen and paper because I can't see. But there is a book called Emotional First Aid for Children. The author is John D. Whitis, JonDiWhitis. You can find it on Amazon, and that will also help you with what is going to be shown at the end, but also talk you through how to not only help your children on an emotional level, but also help yourself on an emotional level, so that you can better implement the somatic work. So that right there, please get it. Everybody should have a copy of that. Everybody should have a copy of it, because it's another tool that goes hand in hand with what we're talking about tonight, right? So yes, go ahead.
Such a good point about, so if the parent is regulated, then they can help their child.
Yes.
Child also. But so, because we feed off of one another. When somebody's nervous system is way up here and you're trying to tell someone to chill, and you're up here,
not gonna happen.
They disconnect to that. So so to learn some self-regulation techniques as a parent, so that when you're talking with your child about these very difficult and high emotion topics and experiences, you can keep it all in your container, right? Keep it contained in the body, so it doesn't feel so overwhelming.
Right. And then just deal with it pieces at a time, because there is so much, and it's going to become more overwhelming. Okay, Katie, that's what I was going to ask you. I hope that information was very helpful for you. Mm-hmm. And that was an amazing question. So thank you. You guys can keep those kind of questions coming in for us. So
where do we go from here?
For a person who has never, for a person who has maybe considered yoga, but has said, I don't think I can do that. Mm-hmm. How does this work when you're just doing the somatic? Is there a combination of the verbal, the posturing, moving, so forth? How does that work?
I would respond to that with this. Yoga means to unite. Yoga means to yoke together. So what we're doing it with a session that I would lead is being aware and connecting our breath with our movement and connecting our breath with and our movement with some meditation, some prayerful meditation. And I would say, don't think about yoga as what the Western world has done to it in many ways, and that's created it, making it a physical exercise only of amazing back bends and arm balances, and all of that stuff is awesome. But yoga means to unite. Yoga means to connect and bring together. And so I can tell you that I have led an entire 2-hour trauma recovery session with someone, and we never took a yoga pose. And if sitting in a chair is more comfortable and accessible for someone, it can all be done in a chair, because we all can move and we all can breathe. So I would say, if you can move and you can breathe, you can do yoga. And let me lead you through it.
Okay. Let me see. What else? So if someone was looking to add this as a tool to their healing box, where would they start?
In terms of working with a trauma-informed yoga instructor, or something that they could do on their own?
Both.
I would say that if someone is interested in doing this type of work, that to look up trauma sensitive yoga instructors and see if there are certified ones around. Of course, we're in this very unusual time. It's not as easy to find someone in a physical presence to go to, just to pop into a yoga studio. So that might be a little more challenging. Certainly they can contact me. I would say a great place to start is to learn some self-regulating breath techniques, simple grounding and breathing techniques. And I have a lot of those 2-3 minute practices on centering and breathing on my group page called Breathe, Move, and Live with Full of Hope.
Okay, so you can you give us an example, please?
Sure, I sure can. Well, let's start with just that initial thing I talked about, and that is feeling the stable ground under your feet. So coming into a posture, if you're sitting in a chair, where maybe you need to scoot forward in the chair a little bit so that your feet can be right down underneath your knees, and just notice what it feels like to connect into the ground. Notice what your body, how you have to, engage some muscles to connect into the ground. And notice how you can maybe start to feel like your tailbone is rooting, like trying to cement itself to the chair. And then let's just notice for our breath. How it feels, where maybe you feel your inhale as you breathe, where you feel your exhale. Awareness of your breath drawing in through your nostrils and releasing out. And then maybe see if you can notice how your right shoulder feels, and if there's anything you could do to make it feel a little softer and released. And then notice it on the left. And now I'm going to teach a resourcing, a self-soothing resource. And I call this the 4 H's. The I am here 4 H's. So what we need to do is feel our hands connected. Draw your hands together, and as simple and awkward as it may sound, notice your palms connecting, your finger pads connecting. Notice what you notice, feel what you feel. Maybe it's some heat, maybe it's just friction, maybe it's just plain old sweat. Notice what you notice, feel what you feel. And now let's create some friction. What if you were to move your hands as fast as you can until you feel some heat and friction? So this is hands, heat, heart, here. Now that you have that heat, could you put your hand, one over your heart and the other over the top of the hand? And remember the grounding. Feeling your feet connected to the floor. Sensing the stability under you. Sensing the weight of your hand on your rib cage. The other hand on top. Just notice what that feels like for you. Sensing some, again, maybe weight or heat. Notice your breath. Maybe you can sense your hands moving, right? Raising on your inhale and lowering on your exhale. Maybe that's what you feel. And what if you could sense this weight, this heat as comfort? What if you could? What would that feel like? You can sense on your body the weight of the hand, the heat of your hands. Could you sense comfort somewhere in your body? What would that feel like? And to end this, we're sensing our connection, our solid foundation underneath us. The world is not spinning out of control. We are stable in this place. Our breath, connect to our breath. Our breath connects us to a common humanity. We all need to breathe to sustain our life. In essence, we're all breathing together. And then the 4th H of this, heat, hands, heart, is this in your mind. What if you could see these words in your mind? I am here. Breathing, sensation of contact, heart to heart. Seeing the words as you say them silently to yourself, to your spirit, your mind, soul. I am here. And know that this is something that you can do as simple as finding the ground under your feet, or sensing the breath under your ribs, feeling your own palms connecting and feeling heat. This is a resource for you.
Thank you. Can you give me the name of your website again?
Well,
not website, but your page.
Yeah, my Facebook group page is Breathe, Move, and Live Full of Hope Yoga. With Full of Hope Yoga.
With
And
Full of Hope Yoga?
with Full of Hope Yoga. It's connected to my Karen Penfold Facebook page. It is a private page.
Breathe, move, and live, right?
And live with Full of Hope Yoga.
They can find it and ask to be a part, right?
Ask to be a part. And I simply ask for an email address so I can connect that way. And then I'll add you to the private group. And on that page, I have a lot of resources. As I said, 2 to 3 minute centering practices, breathing techniques, and then 15-minute yoga breaks that are themed. And as we talked about most recently, about all around discovering what if compassion for others begins with compassion for self.
Okay, so we're going to actually pop it up here really quickly. Breathe, move, and live with Full of Hope Yoga. I'm going to leave that up there for you guys. I did pop it into the comments. It's probably just going to populate on the YouTube one and not the Facebook one. So I want to make sure that I place it up here for you. I am also going to provide you with Karen's email information so that if this is a tool which you are putting in your healing box and you want to be able to access it and move forward with this form of trauma healing, then you have the ability to do so.
I am happy to set up what we call a discovery call with anyone who's interested. We can do it via audio, messenger, or video, so we can see one another, however someone's comfortable, and just ask me questions and I'll answer them, and we'll see if doing some work together, and we can do it virtually, doing a lot of sessions.
Yes.
In a format, something like this.
Absolutely. And I have to tell you from firsthand experience that it is an amazing process. Karen allowed me to be part of one of her sessions before COVID.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I got it in before then.
Yes.
And it was absolutely amazing. I drove home just feeling wonderful, feeling connected, feeling like I could just go through the rest of my evening and just be absolutely calm and okay and deal with whatever may have come as I was leaving. Yeah, it was.
I love
so we're going to go ahead and put Karen's contact information up here for you. You guys, this is the Breathe, Move, and Live with Full of Hope Yoga is a Facebook group, which you will have to ask to join. You won't regret it. It's a tool that even if you don't use it now, keep it in your healing box, because when you need it, you can just pull it out.
Right.
I don't think she's going anywhere. It's okay. So let me go ahead and grab her contact information for you.
Nicole, it's so interesting that you brought up that class, because yes, that was prior to COVID, and it was an introduction to trauma recovery yoga. So there was 7 or 8 women there who were interested in this process. Yes. And that's the thing, it's a process. Unfortunately, it's not like this one and done thing. I mean, it's wonderful, to leave and have that experience, so that you want more. But I so want to offer, I love the one-on-ones. That's my absolute passion. I also want to offer a group class, a series of trauma recovery, like a 6-week, 12-week, I'm not sure what. And I'm just praying about and figuring out how to do it in this climate, how to do it.
And you absolutely should, because as soon as COVID is done, and if you are here in the Sacramento, California, Elk Grove area, you and a group of friends need to go ahead and say, hey, Karen, can we get that introductory class? Because let me tell you, there was about 7 or 8 of us in that in the class at the time. But there was space to just spread out and be you. Karen is absolutely amazing. She was like, do you need a blanket? You need something under your legs? Like, she was just like, look, however you're going to get through this and however you're going to heal from your trauma, let me make sure that you're comfortable doing it. Do you need to sit in a chair to start out? If so, here is a chair, right?
And she's just accessible.
Listen, and you did. I mean,
I so miss those days of
they shall return. They shall return. Until then,
have faith.
You have to have faith. They shall return. And until then, the fact that you're able and willing, one, to share your story, to say how you got here, and then share that experience with other women and men who are in need of this process. Let me tell you, you said a very important thing here. Trauma recovery is not a one-time thing. It is a process, and it is an intentional process, meaning you have to move with intention in order to travel this journey successfully and not give up in the middle of it.
Yes.
Because let me tell you, sometimes you might be doing some of the things that we're telling you to do right now, and there is an intrusion, and you're like, oh, wait, what is this? I didn't sign up for this right here.
Right.
You didn't, but here's a little secret.
And you're going to get through this.
You're going to get through it.
And my trauma recovery clients is incredible. Their courage to feel what they feel.
Yes.
Is incredible.
It's incredible because what we're doing is we're taking away the stigma of trauma, right? We're taking away the fact that you can't say that a trauma happened, right? Because it just doesn't feel right. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to feel it anyway. So why would I say it? No, hear, feel, be. You have a right to feel what you feel.
Yes.
Out loud. Please feel it out loud so that your journey can happen. And no, it's not going to be easy. Mm-hmm. No one is saying it is, but it's also not I tried this once and that's it kind of situation. It's I've tried this once. It was uncomfortable. Let me try it again when I'm ready.
Yeah.
And that may not be for weeks or months down the road, but as long as you keep going, that's the purpose.
We can always start with breathing and meditation. It's letting me, lead someone through a not just a relaxing meditation, but a trauma-informed Yoga Nidra is therapeutic.
Yes.
It's therapeutic. And again, you don't need to, I'm happy at another time, I love to tell my clients why it's therapeutic and what's going on, even though I'm so not a science girl.
Can you tell us why it's therapeutic? I mean, we're here. Our community wants to know.
Because when your right brain and left brain can reconnect when you allow oppositions of feelings, sensing the top of your body, sensing the underside. We go back and forth, pendulation of sense your right knee, now your left knee. You might be really bored, and it might sound really like just, I don't know, but here's my new thing. Trust me, your nervous system will thank me, or your nervous system will thank you for allowing the experience. So it's therapeutic, and it's a great place to start to just help bring down the nervous system and find some resourcing, finding that ground, finding that center of, and finding your breath.
Listen,
your breath. So we can
breathing is essential. to this process. And I'm not talking about the normal breathing that you do every day to live. I'm talking about intentional deep breaths, like to where you are filling up your abdominal area and your lungs, and then you are deflating it till you feel like you can't deflate anything else, like serious intentional breathing.
Right. As an inhale increases your heart rate and the exhale decreases it. So when you exhale more than you inhale, you're going to decrease that nervous system. You can truly affect your heart rate breathing into 3 and exhale to 6.
Yes.
Night. Inhale to 3, exhale to 6 as you're lying in bed, and see if maybe, see if maybe you fall asleep a little faster, a little more sounder, or you just notice what it's like to breathe into 3 and exhale to 6. Just notice.
Okay. You guys, I hope that this has been an episode of this broadcast that if you need to, you just replay it over and over again to let this information sink in. Even if you just find that section of it where Karen has walked us through this amazing, like, self-centering situation, please do, right? Please be a part of this community where we're going to continue to work together, and we're going to continue to fill your healing box with tools so that you can be okay on your journey to resilience. And I have to say this every time. I am working on redefining resilience, just for those of you who would be interested. And it's the difference between surviving and thriving, because you can go through a traumatic experience, you can get through it, and you can live your everyday life, and you can just be surviving and thanking God that you get to the next day. Or you can get through your situation and you can thrive, right? And that is the purpose of mental health and healing. I want everybody in this community to thrive, and I want them to be able to take the tools that are in their healing box and share it with the next person so that they can help the next person to thrive. That is the goal. Okay. So please stay tuned, because listen, we have some more. And can I tell you this is not the last time that you've seen this duo together. We have some surprises for you guys coming on, and we can't wait for it. Okay. Just so that you guys know, for those of you who are following the broadcast every 2 weeks, our next broadcast is going to be July 14th, and it is going to talk about healing adolescent and parental relationships, because yes, those relationships are full of trauma, and we need to figure out how to heal them and make them better. And if you have a pen and paper, go ahead and write this down, because I'm going to give you just the whole broadcast schedule through August. The one after that is going to be July 28th. We're going to talk about grief recovery. So please look out for it. If you registered for this one right here, I will send you each link to each of these coming up if you let me know that that's what you want me to do. And then the next one is going to be August 11th, and that's going to be self-care. And we have some more on the back burner that we're looking to present to you, because again, I want you to have a healing box that is so overflowing that you have options for whichever situation you are facing. All right, you guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all your amazing questions. If you guys have questions, please feel free to contact Karen. As a matter of fact, I think all of you should. She's offering an opportunity just to talk to you and answer your questions and find out if this form of trauma recovery is for you. So, hey, don't pass up on it. Contact her, learn more, see if it's a tool that you can put in your healing box. If not, okay. If it is, you won't regret it. And if you have any questions for me, please, you can find me on YouTube at Dr. Nickie. That's Dr. Dr.Nickie. or you can find me on Facebook at Nicole Cherie. And I will gladly answer any of the questions that you may have that come up from this or any other broadcast that you will see or have seen. My beauties, thank you very much. And I hope to continue to bring many good healing things to this community. You guys have a beautiful evening,